You're the one everyone relies on, the one who never misses a deadline, never falls apart, at least not where anyone can see. People say things like, "I don't know how you do it all. You're so calm under pressure. Nothing ever seems to rattle you." And you smile, you nod, you say, "Oh, it's fine. I'm used to it." But inside is a different story. Inside, your mind never fully stops. Your body is tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. There's a hum underneath everything. Quiet, constant. Something's not right. Even when everything technically is, you've gotten so good at hiding it, even you sometimes forget it's there, until it isn't. Until 2 a.m. arrives and your mind decides it's the perfect time to replay every conversation from the last 5 years. Psychologists have a name for this: high-functioning anxiety. And here's the part almost nobody tells you. It isn't just a mental health pattern. It's deeply tied to intelligence itself. Studies on highly intelligent populations show significantly higher rates of anxiety, higher rates of mood disorders too. Not because something is wrong with these minds, but because of how these minds are built. Here's the premise. Anxiety, in this form, isn't always a malfunction. Sometimes it's the price of a nervous system that's simply more reactive, more perceptive, more on. Threat detection systems that fire constantly. A body kept in high alert most people never feel. And instead of shutting down under that pressure, like anxiety usually does, something different happens. The person adapts, becomes hyper-productive, hyper-capable, hyper-functional, and almost nobody around them ever sees the cost. If any of this sounds familiar, stay with me. Here are the 10 signs. Sign number 1. You're a relentless perfectionist. Not because you're proud of your work, because you're terrified of what happens if it isn't perfect. The standards you hold yourself to, if you said them out loud, people would call them unreasonable. But to you, they don't feel like choices. They feel like the bare minimum, the thing standing between you and disaster. This is maladaptive perfectionism, using impossible standards as a shield against a deeper fear of failure. You'll redo an email 5 times, rewrite a message before sending it, rework something that was already good enough, because good enough has never felt like enough. Not to you. Every project you finish isn't a finish line. It's relief. Relief that disaster didn't happen. Not this time. Sign number 2. Your mind replays conversations on a loop. Hours later, sometimes years later, that thing you said in a meeting, that message that took too long to get a reply, your brain picks it apart from every angle, searching for the moment you messed up. This is rumination, and in high-functioning anxiety, it isn't occasional, it's constant. You can be in the middle of doing something completely unrelated, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a memory from 3 years ago surfaces, uninvited, unwelcome, and just like that, you're back there again. Your brain treats your past like unsolved cases, reopening them again and again, even when there's nothing left to find. Sign number 3. Your body never fully relaxes, even when nothing is wrong. You sit down to rest, your leg starts bouncing, you lie in bed, your mind starts racing the second it's quiet. This is autonomic dysregulation, a nervous system that resists rest, even when there's no threat present. Vacations feel strange. The silence feels loud. Some part of you keeps waiting for something to go wrong, simply because nothing has yet. Your body learned to stay ready. The problem is, it forgot how to stand down. Sign number 4. You say yes when every part of you wants to say no. Saying no feels dangerous, like it might disappoint someone, damage a relationship, make you look difficult. So you agree, you take on the extra task, you show up exhausted. This is yes addiction. Underneath it, a fear of disappointing anyone with authority over your life. Bosses, parents, even friends. And it doesn't stop at work. It bleeds into everything. Plans you don't want to make, favors you don't have time for, conversations you didn't want to have, but said yes to anyway. Your boundaries blur, because keeping people happy feels safer than protecting your time. Sign number 5. You're irritable in ways that confuse even you. Small things suddenly feel unbearable. A slow walker, a notification sound, someone chewing too loudly, and then, just as quickly, guilt for snapping, for feeling things this intensely over something so small. This isn't a character flaw. It's what happens when your mental resources run out. from constantly being on guard. You're not actually angry at the noise. You're angry because you've been holding everything together all day. And this was simply the thing that broke through first. Your patience isn't a bottomless well. It's a battery running on high drain all day. And irritability is what happens when it hits zero. Sign number 6. You use work to quiet your mind. When anxious thoughts start spiraling, you don't sit with them. You do something. You clean. You organize. You start another task. Overworking becomes a way to drown out the noise, because as long as you're productive, the anxious voice has nothing to grab onto. Rest feels almost unbearable, because in rest, there's nothing left to distract you from your own mind. So you keep moving, keep producing, keep proving to no one in particular that you're fine. People call you driven. What they don't see, sometimes the drive isn't ambition. It's outrunning your own thoughts. Stop here, because something needs to be said. If everything so far feels uncomfortably accurate, understand this. None of it means you're broken. It means your brain runs at a higher intensity than most. And that intensity, exhausting as it is the same wiring behind your greatest strengths. Stay with me. The next signs explain why. Sign number 7. You're more sensitive to your environment. Sounds others ignore, chewing, tapping, background chatter, don't just annoy you. They disrupt your ability to think. This is leaky sensory gating. Most brains filter out background noise automatically. Yours doesn't, not as tightly. It's why open offices feel unbearable, why a quiet room can suddenly feel too loud. Your nervous system simply doesn't shut the door the way other people's do. Exhausting, yes, but researchers have linked this exact trait to higher creative thinking. A brain that doesn't filter the world as easily also connects ideas other people never notice exist. The same openness that drains you is the openness that makes you see what others walk straight past. Sign number 8. You feel out of step with people your age. You have for a long time. You think about meaning, mortality, fairness, the bigger picture, things other people don't think about until much later, if ever. This is asynchronous development. Your thinking runs ahead of your ability to process it emotionally. In school, you might have felt like the only one thinking about things no one else seemed to care about. In friendships, conversations that feel light to everyone else can feel heavy to you because you can't help but go deeper. You understand the weight of big questions before you have the tools to carry that weight comfortably. And that gap, it can feel incredibly isolating. Sign number 9. You logic your way through emotions instead of feeling them. Something upsets you. Your first instinct isn't to feel it, it's to analyze it, explain it, understand why you feel this way, as if understanding will make it disappear. This is intellectualization, using reasoning to create distance. Distance from emotion that feels too overwhelming to face directly. You might find yourself explaining your feelings to someone in great detail, almost like a case study, while the actual feeling sits untouched underneath all those words. It's not that you don't feel things, you feel them intensely, but your mind learned that thinking is safer than feeling. Sign number 10. Despite everything, the racing mind, the exhaustion, the constant pressure, you are still, somehow, one of the most capable people in any room. This is the paradox. The same heightened nervous system that creates so much internal noise, it's the one that gives you sharper perception, faster pattern recognition, the ability to function under pressure that would break other people. When things go wrong, you're often the calmest person there, not because you don't feel the stress, but because some part of you has been preparing for this moment for years without ever realizing it. Your anxiety isn't separate from your ability. In a strange, difficult way, they're built from the same wiring. So here's what this means. If you've spent your life feeling too much, too sensitive, too anxious, too in your head, and at the same time, somehow always the one holding things together, you're not contradictory. You're not broken. You're someone whose nervous system runs hotter, sees more, feels more, and learned to channel all of it into competence because the alternative felt unbearable. The goal was never to silence this part of you. The goal is learning to work with it, recognizing the false alarms for what they are, giving your body permission to actually rest, letting stillness exist without treating it as a threat. You were never just anxious. You were always wired for more. The question now is whether you'll keep running on empty or finally learn how to use what you were given. If this described you more than you expected, let me know in the comments. Which sign hit hardest? You might be surprised. How many people reading your comment feel exactly the same way?